unbeaten fighters and major performers. I can't tell you how excited I am about this.
James Helder, IFL TV, MTK Global. With me, I've got the Miracle Man, Daniel Jacobs. We're back in New York City. Great to see you, Danny. Looking very suave and debonair as usual, sir.
Welcome back, brother.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about this fight. You're in with undefeated Makiej Sulecki, 26-0. Somewhat of a great record coming into this. What can you tell me about Sulecki?
Well, I've been fighting undefeated guys lately. My last 3 or 4 fights have been against undefeated guys, and I'm excited that I can showcase my skills against a worthy opponent. This guy is not someone to take lightly. We both have an opportunity in the looming future, yet we win this opportunity impressively too. So Sulecki is definitely a guy who I have to take serious. His last performance I'm assuming it was against Centeno, and he scored a knockout, an impressive knockout, 10th round. So he has power. We know that. He's longer than I am as well. He's taller than I am. I haven't fought anybody, as tall as I have been in a while. So for me, he's a dangerous man until proven otherwise. I prepared myself 100% inside the ring. There's no stone unturned. And ultimately, I'm focused, and this boxing game is 70% mental. So when the mental's right and the physical's right, everything is in sync. Fight night's going to be great.
Another undefeated opponent, as you mentioned. You look at his record, he's been in with some great names, the likes of Centeno. He was undefeated when he boxed in. The likes of Proxar early on in his career as well. He's got some great names on there, Jack Kolkai as well. Do you see this as a chance again to reinforce why you should be #1 with the WBA?
Well, being that he's not a huge name in the boxing world amongst a lot of the casual fans, I'm not sure if they would consider me or him as a worthy opponent. But in the inside boxing world, I definitely would gain a little bit more respect. And I believe with a spectacular knockout, which we're aiming for, I think that'll also secure me a great spot in the near future.
If you come through this as you hope to, you'll be the #1 spot to face GENNADY Golovkin. I know you've been key to get yourself back in this position since that, in your opinion, controversial defeat to GENNADY. I mean, is this the dream in motion for you? Does this fight, this win, get you to exactly where you need to be?
Well, it's just really about proving to the world that I am what I say I am. And the last fight, whether how many people scored 50-50, I was the winner, he was the winner, is very controversial. And I want to be able to prove once and for all that I am the best middleweight in the world. And it's going through the likes of Sulecki. And if we can't get those big names such as Golovkin or Canelo, the middleweight division is stacked. We're going to climb down the line of worthy opponents and make sure that we are considered some of the best in the division. You have Charlo, you have Andre Dermachenko, you have so many. I mean, the list goes on and on of middleweight top guys, and I'm just glad to be one of them.
Before we come on to the likes of Charlo, I'd like to talk a little bit about Saul Alvarez. We know Canelo and the Golovkin fight is the case. It's not going to take place on the date. What was your initial reaction when the news regarding Canelo and the 6-month ban broke?
It sucks. It makes our sport look bad because he's one of the biggest names in our sport. So I believe he has a responsibility of making sure he do right behind our sport. And ultimately, too, you're in there facing other men. You don't want to put other people in danger to where they can never box again or bring harm to the sport, bring harm to another person. It's sportsmanship. It's about making sure you can put on a good performance. It's still a sport. But this is not like basketball. This is not like football where if you use those performance enhancement drugs that, you can make a better jump shot. You can take someone's life. And that's the issue with, that's the biggest issue for me when the whole Canelo scandal. But the 6-month suspension to me could be a little bit more reinforced. I think a hefty fine should be taking place. I think they need to hit him where it hurts, his pockets.
And now Golovkin's going to face Vanes Matrosian. If that fight was offered to you at the time, would you have been available?
Well, I was already training, so absolutely I would have been available. But I've never gotten a phone call. I don't even believe I was even considered an option at that point. So I just continued to focus on Sulecki and do what I have to do come Saturday night, because really boxing is mental. You have to prepare for a guy once you get inside that ring. 3 weeks notice, I was already training. I definitely would have been ready. But like I said, never got the phone call. and just really wanted to focus on this guy.
Eddie Hearn made a reference in the press conference that you took Charlo's soul. Can you explain to me what that comment would sort of entail?
You have to watch the video and you'll see. I mean, it kind of speaks for itself. But, you know, my thing is not really trying to make guys look bad, because that's what I do inside the ring. But I get that people like, you know, people like stuff like this outside the ring when it comes to boxers and competitive sports. You know, it brings up a little bit of hype, and you know, I'm all for it in a respectable way. But at the same time, you know, my business is done inside that ring. So if he wants to get the fight going, we can make it happen.
Do you see that as a realistic fight for 2018?
100%.
Yourself and Charlo?
If it could be my next fight, I'll take it.
Yeah. I suppose that depends on the job you do on Saturday night against Sulecki.
Yeah, I do believe I'll be victorious. He's a tough guy, but at the end of the day, I truly feel like this middleweight division is so stacked with competition that, you know, there's different options of guys that I can face that are still competitive.
Is Sullivan an opponent on the list potentially? Is he someone you would consider?
Yeah, I did. He was actually one of the first options that we got, but De La Hoya and Golden Boy blocked that from happening. I believe they're saving. Yeah, big shame. He's a fighter too, so he should know better. But at the end of the day, I truly believe that with Spike O'Sullivan, I wish him the best of luck with his career, but I truly feel like there's still better competition out there, because if I would have fought him, I probably would have got a little bit of slack. So I'm glad I got you know, undefeated guy who did knock out Centeno first, who did and still is considered maybe top 15, top 20 in the middleweight division. And hopefully I can move on to bigger and better things.
I'd like to get your thoughts lastly on one big character from the UK, that is Billy Joe Saunders. What do you make of Billy Joe Saunders as a champ?
Come on, Billy. Come on. If you want to fight, man, stop making all these excuses. He's a fine boxer, but he's making too many excuses. My thing is this: I've always been vocal about fighting anyone in the division, especially Billy Joe Saunders. But he's just making it very, very hard for that to happen. He's making 101 excuses. My thing is, once I secure a belt, God willing, in the near future, then there will be no choice for him to fight me.
So in an ideal world for you, you'd be win against Sulecki, then you would look at maybe potentially the Golovkin fight, or look at the Charlo fight?
Well, I have a promoter and a manager to make sure that all that stuff is taken care of. You know, fighters fight anybody.
You'll fight anyone.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. Whatever makes sense. I mean, once I get the phone call, tell me who I need to prepare myself for, then I go to work. But at the end of the day, it's all about my team.
What makes sense for you? Danny Jacobs, thank you very much for making yourself available, sir. And we'll catch you at the weigh-in tomorrow. Thank you, Danny.
3 rounds, 3 minutes, 3 fights.
Unbeaten fighters and major performance. I can't tell you how excited I am about this.